Hello and welcome back to Living on High Alert. This is the first podcast for the beginning of the new year. I am really excited. I've taken a break because I've done other things, but in the process of everything, this particular podcast is focused on the inauguration. And I have written an inauguration poem for elected President Trump for this particular day. I've done some research on this, and I have found that there has not been one Republican president that has had an inauguration poem read for him at the inauguration or prior or after. So, President-elect Trump, I did this in honor of Americans and my flag mainly. This has been something that our country has watched our American flag just being destroyed worldwide during the last, I'd say, decade. So now I have decided that this was something that was very important to me to pass down to my children, my grandchildren, and my great-grandchildren, to understand the value of what Old Glory means to this country. And if you give me a moment, I'm going to read my inauguration poem for you. I dedicate this poem to your 47th inauguration and to the country and to the American flag. The poem that I have written is called Healing of Our Threads. In the third millennium of the 21st century, on January 20th, 2025, history will repeat itself. And forever recalling December 3rd, 1775, when Old Glory was born on American soil. Betsy Ross sitting in a rocking chair, unknowing to her that weaving threads to create the flag of the United States of America for eternity. A beacon of light shining through the universe since its inception, marked by its placement on the moon in 1969. Her colors, red, symbolize courage and bravery on the battlefield. White represents honesty and fairness, and blue seeks to balance justice and loyalty for all, creating the continuous wave of endurance. The scars of battles endured by the United States have transformed into healing through her threads. Our fallen military has embraced Old Glory draped over their coffins on their journeys home. These threads honor our brave officers and first responders who sacrifice their lives in the line of duty. Old Glory symbolizes hope, freedom, and friendship, offering her healing threads even to her enemies. She has withstood the test of time and our nation's darkest hours, draped over our assassinated American presidents. Abraham Lincoln in 1865. James Garfield in 1881. William McKinley in 1901, and John F. Kennedy in 1963. Old Glory has transferred and traveled every inch of Mother Earth's battlefields, bearing witness to despair. Since the dawn of creation, Old Glory has interwoven human tears, bloodshed, and outrage, even mockery into her fabric. Yet she continues to unite us as American and as a part of humanity. The unyielding healing of threads in our flags have been tagged to weaken her. There have been attempts to strip away what can never be taken: her dignity, strength, and loyalty. Those who have confronted and despised her will always struggle to grasp that every thread is a part of her, It is the same thread that runs through every fabric of America. Healing of our threads. Thank you, President-elect Trump, being inaugurated to our 47th president. It has been an uphill battle for you, your supporters, and America in general. Whether we're Democrats, Republicans, whatever nationality, beliefs we have, I have said before, the most critical aspect of our country is the security of the soil that we reside on. We are supposed to be the gatekeepers of America. But instead, we have allowed open borders. We have allowed disinformation. We have allowed the silence of individuals that just have different beliefs and different choices. So through all of that, I found it most fitting that you should have an inauguration poem. And it should be most fitting to be the American flag, because that's what you're restoring to America. You are restoring the freedom of what she represents, law and order of what she's supposed to represent. Our country's not going to come together as a whole, and never maybe will, because we have descended into this mentality of thinking and a new age of way of living that the word respect has been discontinued. But I'm here to restore it, and I'm going to start with me. I'm only one Republican, but I'm an American first, and I'm a born American to born American parents. And I want my borders sealed. That is my first agenda. And I know on day one, when you take office in a few hours, you're going to start executing this. And I know that you're going to do it in a humane way, even though they try to paint the picture that this is not going to happen. You're a father. You're a husband. You're a grandfather. You have to have compassion, as we all do. You know, when I look back, and I always refer to this sometimes as in my time, in my era, because things were definitely different. You could not destroy things without consequences. You could not tear down statues without consequences. You could not have riots and harm people during the riots without consequences. But we've moved into this society of no accountability. And I am going to follow every inch of your presidency to make sure that there is accountability and that we can restore whatever we can back to our country. I'm only one foot soldier, President Trump. I'm out here in the fields. I don't sit in Washington, D.C., and I don't sit on cabinets, and I don't oversee anything other than myself and where I live and my surroundings. So it is most important that you call upon all your foot soldiers to be your eyes and your ears of your country, and not for the sole purpose of spying, but to see where we can heal. I know that my Democratic friends don't agree with me, and I'm certainly sure that they don't really enjoy my poem, but my poem is directed to the country. It just happens to fall on your inauguration day. You know, my brother fought in the Vietnam War for that flag. And I also saw the trial of how the society that we've become, and we're more interested in protecting the criminals than we are the citizens, the law-abiding citizens of our country. Well, I'm hoping that Americans will come together and regardless of what their beliefs are, will understand that harm comes to everybody at some given point in time, and hope that it never reaches your doorstep. I hope that you are not one of the Americans that have to feel the pain that families have felt through the illegal acts that have entered our borders. So taking that in mind and understanding this is why this poem to me was so relevant. Because I'm hoping that, healing of our threads will also be the healing of our way we communicate with each other. All I've been hearing about is how your presidency and your inauguration is sending people, they don't know where to go because they're having meltdowns. If you're having meltdowns about a president being elected, why aren't you having meltdowns about the illegals that are crossing our borders? Why aren't you having the meltdowns about the prices of food? Why aren't you having meltdowns about everything that's relevant to the survival of you and your families and your loved ones? But you want to spend your time melting down over a president be elected? He's only going to be in office 4 years. And we're going to go through this process again. So look at what your energy is spent on. Try to find a way to move forward. I was not a fan of President Biden. What he did to this country I can't even describe how I feel. Opening my borders, allowing 22 million illegals unvetted in here, taking away programs from our veterans, from our homeless, from our underprivileged. But I didn't go around mocking him other than saying that I am not a garbage Republican. I'm not a garbage American. Because regardless if I liked it or not, he was an elected president until removal. So what does that show me as an American if every inch I'm going to tear him down and belittle him and berate him for the world to see? No, I have to figure out a way how I'm going to help mend this country. Our election system is broken, and we all know it. But what's wrong with Americans, or half of America, or most of Americans, or whoever, is that they don't want the system broken. They want the system broken because they want to manipulate it. Let me tell you why this poem is so important is because you can't even go to a library and get a library card without identification that you live in the area. So I am 100% for making our voting system what it should be in the era of which we live in, which is the digital era. Filling out ballots, mailing them in, it's old school, and it worked during that time. But today, it's digital, so the only thing that I can see that there is no fraud is that when you go to vote, do a digital fingerprint. You have to do it at the bank when you cash a check. You have to do digital footprints everywhere you go. When you want to log on, you do face identification. So let's get smart, America. Let's get smart regardless if you're Democrat and Republican, and let's win fair. And let's start going into a digital system and get away from everything else. This will keep out the illegal voting. This will keep out the fraud. This will have access to both parties. And let the better candidate that the American people choose move forward and take our country forward. So this is what I say to you, America, and this is what I say on the pre-inauguration of you, President Trump. And to our First Lady, Melania, you coming back into the White House to me is that you bring elegance. You bring everything that motherhood shows of how you treat your family, your child, everything around you. You understand what it is. You've come to this country. You know what it is to not live and being born in America. So I welcome you. And I believe that anybody that does not has their own agenda. I remember when First Lady Jacqueline Kennedy, she was the epitome of elegance. But so is Barbara Bush. First Lady Barbara Bush had elegance. She was soft-spoken. I never heard a derogatory word out of her. I never heard her say, well, I don't like this country. I don't want to be part of this country anymore, which other first ladies have said. We have to bring back what you represent, what your role represents as a first lady of this country. The president is the one that fights the battles. The first lady is the one that takes care of the American people's house. You take care of the house of the people. And you do that with honor and respect. Because that's my house. And I have elected you with my vote to reside in it. And I do that with pride and dignity. So yes, there's going to be lines in the sand drawn from both parties. But the ones that resist are the old ones that have been resisting, because you've got to imagine that when you don't have power anymore and the tables are turned, which they are going to be in this administration, there's no underlining about that, things are going to be exposed. But again, we've got to move forward. So when I took this opportunity to write this poem, what I thought about is what my country has gone through. What my American flag has gone through, what has represented to the world. And I'm here to say, she will fly high again. And she will continue to fly until there is no America. She represents us. And after this inauguration is over and there's a new one, and a new president is inaugurated, hopefully there'll be another inauguration poem. But I just couldn't, President-elect Donald Trump, you having this most important inauguration, your re-election, and not have an inauguration poem. So I took it upon myself to do this and to dedicate this to the country. So with that in mind, I am looking forward to the next 4 years. And why am I looking forward to it? Yes, because you've re-elected. But I want to see our country heal on many levels. I want to see accountability. I want to be able to make sure that the politicians are elected, that they work for us. They were elected to do the people's work. We were not putting them there for us to give them power and authority to line their pockets while the country suffers. So we'll get back on our feet. I have faith in my country. I always have. And if anybody knows me in all the conversations I have ever had in the past, I have always said, go ahead and push America. Push her to the brink. But I'll tell you one thing, when you push her too far and she's on the brink of destruction, beyond repair, you're going to see every American, Democrat, Republican, stand up and protect her. And they will join together, regardless of what their views are, because this is our American soil. This is where we reside. So yes, we have a lot of baggage. We always will. But it's what we do moving forward. So on that note, President Trump, I think it's most important that this first podcast of the year was designed for the sole purpose of the poem. It's a healing poem. It's the healing of our threads poem. And those who choose not to participate, it's your choice. That's what the American flag represented. It represents your choice. It represents your freedom that you enjoy here in the American people. So they'll use it. All of you Americans that are just so upset with our country, so upset with our American flag, and that have kept threatening to leave, go. I don't want to read another time where it says, well, this star or this one's moving or this one is coming or this one is coming back. Go. You're free to go. This is what the American flag has given you. You know, I don't care if you stay or you leave, but when you leave, don't come back. Give up your American citizenship. See what it's like to live in a third world country or another country. You will not enjoy the freedoms that you do here. So every time I hear an announcement or I hear in the news that this celebrity is leaving, why are you here? I will double check to see why you are here. So make no mistake, I'm a very firm Republican. I support my country more than I support my party. I support my American citizen more than I support my Republican Party. I will try to be a good neighbor, and I will try to represent my country in the best way that I can, but make no mistake, don't walk on my flag anymore. Don't step on her, don't burn her, don't do it anymore, because you're going to see a rise in America this term. She's not up for the abuse that she's been taking anymore. You know, if you really stop to think of how many have fought and given up their lives for you to enjoy the freedom of your speech, you know, maybe you'll think twice this time around. Maybe you'll have a change of heart. And if you don't, that's your privilege. That's your freedom to do that. So moving on from that, the inauguration is well-deserved, as every president deserves at their inauguration, not just the one current, but the ones coming. So let the party that is enjoying it, enjoy it. Let them move forward with their agenda. And if next 4 years there's a Democratic president, then let us move forward again with a Democratic president, even if I'm a Republican. My country comes first, America. Make your country come first. Make it come before anything else. So with that said, I'm going to leave one more time reading the poem. And this way I'm going to read it straight through so we could grasp what it actually means to me, and hopefully it'll mean to you. Healing of our threads. In the third millennium of the 21st century, on January 20th, 2025, history will repeat itself, forever recalling December 3rd, 1775, when Old Glory was born on American soil. Betsy Ross sat in a rocking chair, unknowingly weaving threads to create the flag of these United States of America for eternity, a beacon of light shining through the universe since its inception, marked by its placement on the moon in 1969. Her colors, red, symbolizing courage and bravery on the battlefield, white, representing honesty and fairness, and blue seeks to balance justice and loyalty for all, creating a continuous wave of endurance. The scars of battles endured by the United States have transferred into her healing through her threads. Our fallen military has embraced Old Glory, draped over their coffins on their journeys home. These threads honor our brave officers and first responders who sacrifice their lives in the line of duty. Old Glory symbolizes hope, freedom, and friendship, offering her healings through threads even to her enemies. She has withstood the test of time and our nation's darkest hours, draped over assassinated American presidents. Abraham Lincoln in 1865, James A. Garfield in 1881, William McKinley in 1901, and John F. Kennedy in 1963. Old Glory has traveled every inch of Mother Earth's battlefields, bearing witness to despair. Since the dawn of creation, Old Glory has interwoven human tears, bloodshed, and outrage and mockery into her fabric. Yet, she continues to unite us as American and as part of humanity, the underlying healing threads in our American flag has tugged to weaken her. There have been attempts to strip away what can never be taken, her dignity, strength, and loyalty. Those who have confronted and despised her will always struggle to grasp that every thread is a part of her. It is the same thread that runs through every fabric of America. God bless you, and God bless America.